Hi everyone, it's Midnight Malice here, and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is my first video ever, and it is also my first video about Guild Wars 2, obviously. I've been playing Guild Wars 2 for a little over 2 years now, and I really love PvE. I love raiding. Basically everything except for PvP and World versus World. So with the new Living World season update coming out, I'm pretty excited. There's going to be obviously a very big reveal as to who Lazarus is. So if you don't know anything about the Living World season stories or anything like that, I highly suggest playing them. I also suggest not watching this video because, spoiler alert, there are going to be quite a few spoilers. So for those of you who played Head of the Snake, which was the last Living World season, as you know, it leaves off with the player character finding out that Lazarus may not actually be Lazarus because Caudecus apparently had Justice Bauer swap out one of his aspects so that Lazarus couldn't be resurrected. But the problem is, there is a Lazarus running around who absorbed a whole bloodstone's worth of magic. So who is Lazarus, and why did they do it? That's the big question. The reveal's coming out May 2nd, but I just thought I'd do a little speculation video in advance to toss around a theory that I personally have that I haven't seen anyone else mention anywhere on the forums or Facebook or anything like that. And then I'll mention some of the common theories that I have seen thrown about, which I think have sort of a little bit of a chance of being correct as well. I'm not going out on like the crazy it's Ritlock Brimstone limb or anything like that, just the ones that I've seen that kind of make sense to me. Not saying that the people who think it's Ritlock are crazy, but I think it's a little bit unlikely that it's going to be Ritlock. So let's just get started. My theory is that it's Caudecus, and that might seem a little out there because we supposedly killed him in the last Living World season update, but the problem is that fight, I don't know about you guys, but it just felt a little too easy considering that this is the head of the White Mantle, and we've fought people like Zira before, or even Matthias, who was an abomination, but he was at least super powerful. Also, Caudecus seems to be speaking in kind of a voice of Legion, and he's not quite himself when we first confront him under the chandelier during that part where he shoots his daughter and everything. He seems to be speaking in two voices, not really there, and I have to wonder if the aspect that he swapped out wasn't his soul or his essence to be incorporated with Lazarus so that he could rule the White Mantle as their god instead of as the head of the White Mantle, because he knew that the White Mantle was not loyal to him entirely, that they really wanted to resurrect Lazarus. They wanted to bring back their god, and he, by taking on the form of Lazarus, could summon the whole White Mantle army as devotedly faithful servants to him. And knowing Zira's power with the Bloodstone, he might have learned from Zira and been able to take on quite a bit of Bloodstone magic and become an extremely powerful player in the Guild Wars 2 world. So I really think it's Caudecus, and that he kind of faked us out with either his mortal shell or a totally different White Mantle experiment down in that basement that we kill. And then the real Caudecus, his actual essence, be it his soul or his aspect or whatever, is in the body of Lazarus. Some other options I've heard, which makes some sense, is that it might be Countess Anise. She's obviously very powerful mesmer. We haven't seen her full power. Um, she's been acting kind of strangely lately, a little aggressive. And a lot of people theorize that she's Livia, the immortal necromancer from Guild Wars 1, who has the Scepter of Ore. And I think that they, have some credibility to that theory. It would make a lot of sense why she, as the Master Exemplar of the Shining Blade, would want to also control their rival force, the White Mantle, and use it to combat Elder Dragons. And it could also explain Marjorie's attraction to finding out who Lazarus is, because Marjorie, as a necromancer, might be able to sense the powerful necromancer energy coming from Livia, aka Anise, aka Lazarus. Another theory I've heard related to Countess Anise is that Lazarus is actually Queen Jenna. I think this is going a little overboard, but Queen Jenna does have those super mesmer powers, as we can see with her putting the bubble over Krita. I think it's a little bit of a long shot to say that she's impersonating Lazarus, but you never know. One theory that I've heard is that no mortal, not even a Mersat, could absorb that bloodstone magic without, dying. Which, can obviously be counteracted by the fact that, Cormyr was immortal and she absorbed Abaddon's magic. But speaking of that, the theory is that it might have been a god that absorbed the bloodstone magic exploding. And one of the theories, funnily enough, is funnily a word? I don't know. But one of the theories is that it was Abaddon. And I know that Abaddon supposedly died in Guild Wars 1, but I really, really like this theory because Abaddon was the god of secrets. He knew a lot of things which were hidden. He would have been able to know about them swapping out the Lazarus aspect. And although Cormyr absorbed a lot of his power and it was spread among the gods that were remaining after the player character in Guild Wars 1 kills Abaddon, he may still have left some of his essence behind, and he may have been resurrected and re-empowered by the bloodstone exploding. I think that might be a possibility. Some people are also going along the same line of it being a god, but instead they're saying it might be Balthazar, because apparently, and I really didn't play Guild Wars 1 very much, but apparently Balthazar has very similar fighting style to the fighting style shown by Lazarus when he's destroying the dragon minions. So I think that is a realistic option as well. An option that's kind of far out there for me is that it's Pelwa Joko. I've heard a few people tossing around this theory because Pelwa Joko obviously was this undead king who fought elder dragons apparently, and there are apparently, according to some data mining that people have done, some undead faces coming out in the next patch. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities. I just find this to be incredibly unlikely, because why would he know about an aspect of Lazarus being swapped out when he's basically all the way across Tyria and not super involved in the current situation in Tyria. Another option is that it's Mr. E, the person who left letters all around the latest map. This theory obviously does, make a lot of sense, but since we don't know who Mr. E is, although Casimir and Marjorie do, we would not be able to, even if we think, oh, it's Mr. E, we would not be able to say who Mr. E is because their name even means mystery. So it might be Mr. E, and we might find out who Mr. E is in the next Living World season on May 2nd, but we currently, as the player character, don't know who that is. So it could be someone mentioned above. um, Justice Bauer is another option I've heard. Um, and it makes a lot of sense because he might not want to die in the ceremony to bring back Lazarus. So he could have swapped out his own aspect instead and be impersonating Lazarus to get more power within the White Mantle. I find this theory to be highly unlikely, but it could be the case because he was the other person besides Caudecus who knew that the aspect was not the real aspect for Lazarus. And finally, it could be Lazarus just missing an aspect of himself. I find this actually very unlikely just because of where they want to go with the story. And if the grand reveal of who Lazarus is that it's actually Lazarus, he's just missing like a bad part of himself or something that made him a bad guy in the first Guild Wars, that feels like it wouldn't be quite good story writing. So I don't feel like they're gonna go that route, but that's just obviously the last kind of realistic option that has been put out there. If you guys have other theories as to who Lazarus is that I didn't mention, feel free to leave them in the comments, or if you have further explanations as to why a particular theory is a good one that I didn't delve into enough, let me know. Um, it's been awesome making this video for you guys. I'm sorry if the quality isn't super great. This is my first time attempting a recording, so I wish everyone a very happy time playing Guild Wars 2, and let's find out who Lazarus is on May 2nd. Thank you all. Have a wonderful day.